Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of Feature Friday. Today we're going to be talking about some of our products that are kind of key to this time of year when it's really hot out. There's some direct exposure to sunlight. There's a lot of humidity in the air. You can even get some of those kind of heat waves, that warm wind. So those kind of environments. We're also going to be just generally talking about some of the effects of that heat stress, but it's essentially defined as any process or a type of work environment that will raise a worker's body temperature above the 38 degrees Celsius or 100 or so degree Fahrenheit line. So some major contributing factors to heat stress that we're just going to quickly talk about is the improper acclimation to work environment, which does happen in stages, the lack of hydration, and then finally the heavy or tight kind of fitting clothing. Now, depending on what you do for work, you may be kind of forced to wear certain garments that are pretty heavy. Some of the FR garments, for example, can be a little bit on the heavier, on the tighter to your body feeling. And those are the types of things that can kind of make things more uncomfortable, but also not allow your body to kind of dissipate some of that heat. So when we're going to talk about those effects of heat stress that we mentioned earlier, there's some mild and heavier symptoms. So mild symptoms, like we talked about, there's some dizziness, but you can also have some confusion, altered mental capacity, some nausea. Of course, you can already imagine if you're on a job site and you're doing some construction work, the last thing you want to do, especially if you're working at heights, is get dizzy or have some altered mental capacity or get confused all of a sudden, or, of course, start vomiting. Serious symptoms, of course, the heat stroke, the heat exhaustion. There's
rhabdomyolysis,
which is basically the breakdown of skeletal muscle fibers, not a good one. Heat syncope, which is, fainting episodes, again, not ideal, especially if working at heights. Heat cramps, heat rashes, ranging from just very uncomfortable and then, needing some sort of treatment to, potentially fatal in some of these cases. So some general tips for how you can prevent that heat stress. Provide breathable, high visibility safety apparel. And we're talking to you, management team. We're talking to you, leaders. Another one for the management type of team is increase the number of workers per task. Putting a lot of pressure on individual workers is one of those things that after a while is going to really consume people's energy load. And it has to be able to get kind of properly divided. That's ideal. Also, be able to recognize the signs of heat stress. So those are super crucial. That comes in the education piece for the health and safety training. Wear loose-fitting, breathable clothing. Avoid the dark colors, of course. Those are the type of things that will normally kind of attract that heat and really kind of hold on to it. And properly acclimating to the hot temperatures and using an acclimatization schedule, which is, especially ideal for new inexperienced workers or people that maybe haven't done that kind of work in the outdoors for a while, right? So like we mentioned, doing it in stages is important. And then, of course, for moderate work activities, it's always recommended to drink 1 cup of water at least every 15 to 20 minutes, ideally. So you got to keep that constant hydration going. And it is ideal to avoid some beverages with super high sugar or caffeine contents. We're talking more the energy drinks, that really heavy kind of syrupy stuff. We get it. People want that energy kick, that caffeine kick. But if we're talking about what's ideal in those work environments, that's just what's recommended, is to just kind of stay away from that. So now we're going to talk about some of the products in this cool off collection. So first and foremost, literally called the cool offs, is our cool offs here. I mean, these are ideal because you can kind of soak them in some water, usually about 5 to 9 minutes roughly is what's recommended. And then you can kind of tie them around your neck. You can kind of wear them kind of bandana style. These ones don't get that like slimy effect when they start mixing with some of that sweat. So it is ideal for that. These are really, really comfortable. So it is extra length for better cooling as well. And again, when we mentioned the way that it kind of nicely holds on, it's got those crystals that really do the absorption. You can feel them actually if you're kind of like thumbing it out, but it is divided into those nice sections to really kind of evenly keep that liquid retention and that cooling. So definitely a solid product and a very popular one at that. So next we're going to talk about the Sqwincher line. So I mean, really there's only so much you can really want to say about this stuff because essentially there's just drink additives. So here is going to be your big heavy duty one. If you're going to kind of fill a big kind of water container, you're going to want something like this. This is the concentrate, which can make up to about that 20 liters worth of the beverage. Now the handy thing with these guys is that it does make it a little bit more interesting to have some of those beverages. Like we mentioned earlier, we get it. Not everybody loves to drink a bunch of water, but if you get, some of these guys, You got a couple flavors. You got the mixed berry, you got the fruit punch, you got the orange. In this case, are the ones that we carry. We got the big jug here, the concentrate and the fruit punch. Like we said, you know, either make your individual dose of beverage more interesting and get your refresh on electrolytes. You know, it's super ideal. You just kind of like these, you pour in, you shake it up, you're good to go. These, you don't even really need to do much stirring. It's actually got like a no stir sort of solution. You just dump it in, get the water, and you should be good to go. So it is ideal for that refreshment, kind of re-energize and get rehydrated and something a little bit more interesting, like we said earlier. Of course, these types of things can go a long way on a job site if you happen to have your water cooler. So these ones are obviously going to be the classic ones. The Rubbermaids, everybody knows them, right? They got the drip resistant spigot. They got a screw tight lid. You got durable construction, resist scratching, that denting, fading. I mean, obviously over time on a job site, they're going to get beat up, and we know this, but you want it to last as long as possible, right? Now, the extra thing insulation ensures that superior thermal retention and keeping the content nice and cool as much as possible, because you do want to be drinking, you know, water on the cooler side of things. You don't want to be drinking hot water all day, especially on a warm day. And finally, it is easy cleaning. It's got that stain and odor resistant liner. So that's why we stick with the good stuff when it comes to these water containers. We don't really go with the real cheap of the line kind of no-name stuff. And then finally, just for keeping some of the sun off the neck, we've got MSA's Hard Hat SunShade. So these ones are going to be handy because they're breathable. You can see it's a light kind of mesh fabric, and it does come in, we've got the orange one here, but it also comes in that yellow lime color. Of course, the nice thing too is that you do get these nice hard hat clips that it comes with. So that's what makes it nice and easy to kind of latch on and make sure it doesn't move around on you, because this is an elastic, a strong one at that. And so if you're just gonna try to pull this on and just leave it at that, you may notice it's gonna go slingshotting off your head and potentially onto someone else's face. So this is another one because, you know, you get the retroreflective on there. It's perfect. It's ideal for that kind of construction time. So that's it, guys. Those are some of the main products that we have in that cool off collection for the spring and summer line. If you guys are interested in any of these, if you guys are working in that really heavy heat, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You don't want to put yourself in a bad spot. You don't want to be caught too vulnerable in that heavy heat. It's not good for you. It's not healthy. We're here to look out for you guys. We're here to help you guys out, get the right products in your hands. So please reach out to us, send us an email, hit us up on the website, whatever you got to do. Stay cool out there, stay hydrated. Thanks again for checking us out, guys. Have a good weekend. Cheers.